We rejoined after our high school at the University of Rhodesia. Then in 1970, I read for a BA General, whilst Mutsvangwa opted for a BA honors in geography because he had the intellect, he had the drive to do something like that. There you can see us as young boys almost turning 21, standing beside or in between the students' union and the Vito. Our kit was made up mainly of slippers, t-shirts. That photo was taken after coming out from a lecture as we're heading to the students' union for our daily bottle of Spaletta lemon. So we went through university together, enjoying student life, which was peppered with politics. Was the time when Smith was at its best. I remember with the Shona and the Bele Society, we went to disrupt a Rhodesia front meeting in Mount Pleasant. Our activism really was not from political leaders, but it was that burning desire that we had inside ourselves, considering the population at university. It was not everyone who went to these protests. We went there, tried to disrupt the meeting. Then that's the day Smith and his cohorts sang their famous song, which loosely translated said that Bobo Jans must go back to the mountains, which was an insult to the black population. The police never came to disrupt our activity. So when we got tired, we went back. Then remind me of another meeting right in the I think that's the Parere area, where we went for another session of disrupting Ian Smith meeting. What we had not realized was that they had a plan B. So when we got in, they turned on the fire hoses in there. We were drenched, and some of the youth came with the baseball bats and started beating us up. And as usual, we caught by surprise. We ran out of that building and headed towards the charge office to make a report that we had been assaulted. So we marched into the city center where one white man driving a lorry drove onto the pavement trying to run us down. Oh, it was quite a sight. That was in the area near the city bus terminus, the Supco city bus terminus. I don't know whether it is still operating today. It's been a long time since I've been to that side of Harare. So after graduation, Lancelot headed for Blawayo to become a teacher, while I remained behind to complete my graduate certificate education. As at that time, you could teach without a teacher certificate, but your salary was a step lower. Because I was on a teaching grant, I had to do that. Then the following year, I went to Ascot in Gweru. Because Gweru was halfway, every time on his way to Harare, he would pass through my place. He would set aside about 3 hours on his journey. And in the end, he called my place in Ascot as Wimpy. Because when they came, Joyce, my wife, hayi vafurayira hayi vafurayira zvekutoti mutsvangwa aitoti haiwimbi chaiyo. So at that time tanga takecha, iye akakechawo Clara Gauche Samanyika, a wonderful woman, always carrying a positive smile, chitaura hake neaccent yechimanika, iye vanhu vakaenda kuskuru. So we started off our families. I started off earlier than him with our families, and our children knew each other, especially those who came to the schools where I was, boarding schools where I was, like Sekesai, Ranganai, and Taona, dubbed Teaspoon by his fellow friends at Chaplin, Teaspoon of the Sarafina fame. So together we marched on, creating milestones. We were the first group to be trained as Cambridge school certificate. After 1974, I went to Ascot to start my long career as a teacher in that town. I never left Gweru, whilst Lancelot moved from place to place. We got hitched up as we were eligible graduate bachelors. I got to hook with Joyce and Lancelot with Clara Gauche, the wonderful woman from Manicaland. And she like typical Samanyikas, they've never abandoned their accent. Just like some of us, Mundau, It is very difficult to find anything that associates me with the Ndau, because growing up in Harare, we were very, very, very adaptable. So we raised our families with our kids who got to know each other, especially those who came to where I was as a deputy or headmaster in Gweru, Banana Sekesai, Ranganai, um, Taona Teaspoon, Mfanoepa Chaplain, a splendid young man. So together uh, with Lancelot, we became the first group of geography teachers to mark on behalf of the Cambridge school certificate examinations in geography. So we made our strides there, and suppose I enjoyed that episode when our marking was carried out mainly at home so that we could get on with our lives. But later, when Zimsek was in complete control, the system changed. Teachers, I think up to now, are still being gathered for a period of about 3 weeks in teachers' colleges doing the marking, mainly because that there were now many embarrassing incidences that were happening with the scripts as people were supposed to be marking at home. Some scripts went missing. Namayangotorwawo kumashabhini. Some would get lost on the bus stop, so they centralized everything. And in that centralization, the amount of money we used to get from Cambridge, normally what they would do would be paid on the current exchange rate on the bank, but later, Zimsek, typical of us Zimbabweans, fixed on paid us on a fixed rate and kept the change. Maybe it was for administration, but we felt that we were being shortchanged. As a result, I left because I really couldn't stomach staying at some third-rate institution or college with these communal toilets away from my home, my lovely wife. So I abandoned the marking. So Mutsvangwa, from Bulawayo, he went to Masvingo where he was an education officer. Then from there, he came to Harare, where he rose within the marking hierarchy. And as a result, he became one of the chief examiners. Then he went on for his degree, his master's at the University of Zimbabwe, which his children, I think, are completely aware of. When I went for marking at Kadoma uh, Ranch Motel, we'd gone for setting out the answers. This was the time that I that Lancelot did not come for the marking. I had to go to Harare to find out why. And when I got there, I saw that he was poorly. He had just completed his house in the Borodeo area. Then a few months, if not 2 or 3 after that, he passed on. Rest in peace, Lancelot. As I get older, I'm getting closer to you. We hope we will meet in spirit. Conclude, as I had said, that Rainy Night in Georgia, in my way, are the songs that remind me of him. But it is my back, really, that has sealed our friendship. Sometimes in the late 70s, I accompanied him to Goromonzi Kumshakwavo. Taenda nesimende he wanted to improve his mother's house. So we were helping, we were taking bags of cement into the kitchen. He led the way and I was holding the other end. As we stepped into the kitchen, I didn't realize that the floor levels were different. Then with that weight and spine, and that pain has never really gone away. It comes when I overexert my back. Many years later, I had an operation at the back, and it's a testimony of my friendship with him. Not that I blame him for that incident, but these are some things that happened along the way. I hope you have enjoyed this series. Thank you very much for spending your time watching this. For this episode, I say goodbye to you all.